Welcome back, Generals, to another Let's Fix Generals 0 hour to make the best game ever. Good. So I wonder, regarding the radar hero I can fix, I wonder if we should signal in a different way that we just want to... So what we did here is... remove objects. Here we said only if object is deleted, only then we remove it from the cached object list. Removing it and adding it will cause a resort to happen. Why do we need to make a resort? Delete from list. Delete from list. Delete from list. Delete from list. Remove objects. Add objects. to require radar fresh false. True. True. Okay. Then we say project. To in radar remove radar removal flags. Keep hero icon. Reset the radar. Get controlling player. Why don't we just have a refresh function? It's quite a bit of logic here. Yeah. So this is responsible for setting the color. Is that the only thing that we care about here? Setting the color? I think so. The rest is just like the maintenance. So maybe what we should have is fresh objects. What does that do? Object texture. Rebuild the object overlay. Okay, so let's say we remove this condition again. Yeah. And how about we remove this? How about we add a new function and we call that virtual radar object type. Refresh objects. Objects. Okay, so add objects. So we need a new function in Radar where we say void set say just update auto assign color to objects. Then we give it the radar objects. Radar objects. Okay, so we have that, and we would call this inside the add object function. So here we have player, client player, use indicator. So I guess it's this set color. How do I send color to objects? So we have we have a new object. And then we take all this and we move that into this function. And then this is radar objects. Radar objects. Get controlling player. Then we also need an object. Objects. Okay, anything missing here? No. Okay, so this functionality is responsible now for assigning color, and then here we have new object and object, and then we compile out this stuff here. Oh boy. Ah, it's already gone. Never mind. Okay, so. And then basically in this new function, refresh objects, refresh the color of the objects. The associated radar object. Okay, and then we do let's call this refresh object color. For some reason I have troubles jumping to that code. Add object, remove objects. Objects. So we just need a way now to find those objects in the lists. How do we do that? How do we find the radar objects? Okay, the question is, how do we find this radar object now? I don't know. Is there a function to get? Let's search for let's search for object lists. Delete from lists. Search list for radar location match. Search all other objects if not found. Search the local object list. Radar match. Search list. Search list. This one. So I think what we need is a new function where we say objects search lists for radar objects. And then we give it the list head and an object radar match. That's weird. So we will have objects, search objects. Okay, then we add this new function here, which will be very similar to what this is doing. So we take this sanity. We do debug, set, crash. It's not null. Don't need this shit here. Scan the list. Okay, so we remove this, and then we say get object, and then if object equals search object, this, if object equals that, then return radar object. There we go. We need to hold on. Search list for radar objects. Return search objects. Nope. Radar object. There we go. There we go. Okay, and then we should be able to use this function now in this other function here. Where is it? I don't see it. Yeah, fresh object color. Where we do we have two lists. List of objects on the radar, list of objects for the local player, sorted in exactly the same priority as the regular object list for all other objects. List of objects on the radar. For the local player. So these are objects that belong to the map or so, right? Like structures. So how's this determined? Add objects. Is locally controlled. Aha. Object is locally controlled. Is that it? Is that the only condition? Yeah. Okay. Okay, then we should be able to say here refresh object color. Then we say if search list for, we should be we should have another function. Search for radar objects. And there we don't do this. So we copy this. Search for radar objects. We remove this guy. And then we say if search objects locally controlled, then we do here to radar object lists. Then we do this. List equals local object list, else list equals object list, and then return this list and search objects. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, and then we should be able to use this function. If say here radar objects and then we say if radar objects, then we do radar objects. We do assign color to radar objects. Okay, so the question is, will this work? Radar and objects. Something is wrong here. Declaration is incompatible. Why? Because that's why. Okay. So that should work. Now I do wonder regarding delete from lists. Delete from lists. So I don't touch that. Let's say let's call this assign objects color to radar objects. Okay. Okay, and then what we do now is here we now call removing it and adding it will cause a resort to happen. Set or restore team. Restoring. Yeah. The team changed. We have a change in priorities. Okay, that's a bit worrying. There's something else regarding priority. Get radar priority. Okay, now I'm not so sure anymore because there's also the aspect of priority. But how does priority change? It's the same object, right? Removing and adding it will cause a resort to happen. How is this relevant? The team changed. So I would have assumed that we can now just do the radar and then refresh object color. Yeah, but maybe I'm mistaken here. Because this one says something else here. So it's just these two places, really. Yeah. 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 This. But then, why would the... So I don't understand this here, this text. The team changed. We have a change in priorities on the radar. If we are a candidate for the radar as it is. I don't understand what this means. Okay, we need to study this. Does a team switch change the object priority? How does the priority work? Add objects. Get radar priority. Is priority visible? What does this do? Priority invalid, not on radar. False. Get radar priority. Get default. Okay. The priority changes as well. That's a bit stupid here, isn't it? Return radar priority from any. This makes no sense here. So this we can already change to that. this is useless. Okay, but this all looks very static. Is garrisonable? It's probably something that is true or false. Bool. Yeah, this is immutable. And this is probably also immutable. It's kind of, yeah, capturable. Yeah. Return the radar priority for this object type. So to me, this looks like car bombs will show up as units. As car bomb. Status. Okay, this looks like something that is dynamic. Object is now a car bomb. Okay, this one is dynamic. Okay, so this one is not stable. I see. Maybe we should also refresh object priority. Can we do that? Probably we just need to relink it, right? Okay, let's change this function to refresh object. And then we do then we need probably need a relink radar object. We need a function that will relink the function according to its priority. Relink radar objects. Then what we do is we now do what the new what this function does. object to master list at the head of its priorities section. Trivial case, an empty list. Next object. So probably copy this. Copy this. Relink radar objects. New object. So we need a list. We need to give it a list. Relink. Okay, so we need a list head. List head. Okay, this will require a bit of attention. So, list head. No. What is list? List is list. List. Okay, so lists. No priority. No priority. Get rid of priority. So radar objects. There and there and there and there. how about we say priority? Let's rename this to new object like it was before. New object. So here we pass list, new object, and new priority. New priority. Then we take this, and we put that in here. Then we remove this. Okay. And now we need to think. So we have a new object, friend set next. Okay, but we also need to relink friend get next previous option. Objects, not option. Get next. So this previous object is now. Okay, so the first thing that annoys me is all this white space. Let me remove that first because it makes it hard to look at. It's already better. Good, so. We could also do here new priority. New objects. New objects. We can do it like that. And now we can remove this. Okay. Okay, so the only trouble now is we need to also relink this guy, the previous. So it's a single linked list, or what is it? Radar object. Hello, I want to jump to the radar object place. It is a single linked list. Okay. Then, so friend set next. Friend set next new object. Previous object. Next. Do we need to do anything special here? So it's a single linked list. So let's say new object already is somewhere. Let's rename it again to radar objects. Because it's not necessarily new. So let's say this object already is somewhere placed. Then previous, the new entry next points to what the previous one used to point to. Yeah. The previous one next now points to the new entry. Okay. But we also need to say at the end of the list, put object here. Next object is null. So so here we expect that that radar object set next current object. Set next. So somehow I have troubles wrapping my head around this right now. Goddamn linked list. So basically, there's an error here, right? And here as well. Like when we relink the current object, we also need to relink what it was relinked from. So there needs to be something like if if radar objects why am I mistaken? So let me think about it. So we do change set next. I'm struggling to think if we need to change anything here. What if radar object has a set next? Let's rename it back to new objects. Makes it a bit more distinct to look at. So, new objects. So let's say new object linking to some guy already. Set next. Previous. Get next. So, new object already points to another object. We would overwrite it here. It would mean we would break this link here right now. This link would be broken. So previous object get next here's object set next. Yeah, something is wrong here. Oh, how about we ask ChatGPT to help us here? I can't wrap my head around this right now. Can you fix the single linked list linking when? Can you fix the single linked list linking when new object already has a link? When the past new object already has a link to next. Let's see if we can do that. Must detach it. Minimal fix. Null. No. Well, that's not right. That's not right. That's not correct. The problem is here. When... Why am I so stupid? When... So we have a get next, yeah? So if we would... So this guy, previous object get next, is linking to some object. And here we just overwrite it, right? So get next. Previous object get next. The problem is, since it's not a double linked list, we don't know. Well, this is a previous object. Previous. Next object. Aha. So previous. So the problem is that the I think we first need to make a pass. I think we need to make a pass like so. So say if new object friend get next is not null, then we first need to unlink it. Unlink first. So we need to go through the list first once. Yeah, unlink first. New object is already linked. It's already linked. Unlink first. So we say if so we need to go through the list because we can't get the previous one. So we need to say if current object equals new object. We also need to do this here. So previous objects. What about next objects? Next object is here. So we say here get the next objects. Previous objects is here at the bottom, okay. Then if we are here, then we do a break in here, and then we do then here we say previous object friends set next equals new object friend get next, and new objects friends set next set to null break. I think this makes sense. So now it's unlinked. Yeah. Relink radar object. Maybe we can put this into a separate function. Previous. Yeah, maybe we can put that into another function, and we say void unlink radar objects. Just so that it's a bit easier to understand. So there we take this one and unlink. We do a debug assert crash. New object. Get object. Get next. It's not now. And then we take this and then put that here. And then, so previous object is null. Let's do a okay. So previous object set next is get next, and then this one will be unlinked. Yeah. Okay, so then what we do here is if, yeah, we already have this condition here, and then unlink before relink, and then here we call unlink this function, unlink radar objects, lists and new object, and then we can remove all of this. And now we can do a debug assert crash here. Now is not null. Good. And now we can do this and this. And now this one will be the same as before because this is now unlinked, and then we can do all this original stuff here. Okay, that looks good. And so let me ask ChatGPT if he agrees with this. What about this? Almost correct, but there are two serious bugs. Dereferencing pref object when it is null. Where is it? If new object is the head of the list, current object equals list. Oh. Removing head. Okay. That makes sense, yeah. Right. Unlink. Where is it? Here. If previous object is not now, else list moving heads. Right, that makes sense, yeah. Can also do next object here. New list head is now next object. Pref object now links to next object. Okay, that's the first bug. Assertion is wrong. You assert that new object next must not be null before unlinking. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's correct. But in a single linked list, an element at the tail naturally has next null. Oh, right. But ah, ah, aha, right. And when it's at the tail, true. When it's at the tail, aha, aha, right. That's true. When it is at the tail, that's true. Well, in that case, if friend set next object, right? Okay, that would already be null here. Would be set to null here. I don't know what happened here. That makes no sense. Good. Then relink. How about we do a unlink, and then we also have a void link radar objects. Link radar objects. Okay. So link radar object, and then we take this here, this, and then we take this. Then here we do unlink, and then link radar objects. Jesus. Lists. Okay, and then unlink, link. Okay, let me move this down here. So we have a link radar object. Then we have unlinked radar objects and relink radar objects, which just combines the two. Okay, then radar CPP unlink. So let's search for relink, which we had called here. Then what we do here is now link radar objects. And here unlink the object from the list. Unlink. Delete from list. Delete from list. Saturated data. Delete from list. Can we use unlink here now? Maybe we need to unlink radar object, and it needs to return. It needs to return this object. We already have it. Never mind. Pass it. Link radar object. Well, the advantage here is it's a search and a unlinking at the same time. Yeah. I think this one also needs to be part of this. If lists null. Okay, then we should probably do lists locally controlled objects object list. Okay, so that's a one-liner, and then search for radar object. Search list for radar object. We pass it the list. Yeah. List. We need to do a list. This. Then we need to relink lists. No, lists. So the delete from list, that one first passes an object and then a list. Delete from list. Maybe we should do the same here. Yeah. Then here, link master list. Then here we now do, we remove this, we comment this, and basically we now call here the new function link radar object, new object list. There we go. Then let me rename this again to radar object. Let's leave a new object like it was originally. Okay, good. Link radar object, and then we need to fix now here the order. Okay, then we should be able to delete this. Yeah. So we have now here assign object color to radar object, link radar object, list. Okay, refresh objects, we get it, we find it in the list, and then we relink the radar object, and then we assign the object color to the radar object. Yeah. Okay, let me ask ChatGPT what he thinks about this. Did we fix, hold on. Did we fix the assert thingy? Assert crash. Do we still have this? Unlink. Right, so this one needs to be removed. Okay, let's ask ChatGPT about this. Bug 3 does not handle new object. What's a head case? How about this? Correct, safe, and much cleaner. 3-function design is both simple and robust. Unlink cleanly removes a node. Link inserts a node. Assuming it has no next pointer. Does the unlink then link operation. You fixed all the previous structural problems, head tail deletion bugs, and the logic now cleaning as removing the head, removing the tail, removing the middle node, and reinserting anywhere. Handling the case where the node wasn't in the list. Middle remover, tail remover, not found. Not found, whatever that means. Correct and production save. No more logical bugs. Optional improvements, blah. Use pointer to pointer for unlink. What is this? Use pointer to pointer for unlink and link. Pointer to pointer. Pointer to pointer. P list P list P next. Subjects. Use pointer to pointer for unlink and link. Pointer to pointer. How does he mean that? Radar object P lists P next. Break return. Return, yeah. Or? Well, it doesn't make a difference. Breaking or returning. I think it's fine. It could be simpler using pointer to pointer. Why would this be simpler? We still need to store the previous one, no? Like here, he loses previous. I don't understand. It's a single linked list. Use pointer to pointer for unlink and link. But if we don't have a previous object, then we can't modify it. I don't understand. I would just leave it. Maybe he makes a point, but I don't see it right now. Because here he loses a previous, and we need it because we need to modify it. Well, I don't care. That's fine. Okay. Well, this is quite a bit. Yeah, so now if we search for remove object again, then we have commented here, and we now call refresh object, and the same here. And we should also do it here. Account type refresh. Refresh objects. And reset the radar. Determines color on add. Stuff update. Okay, so it's a bigger change, but I think now logically it's much cleaner. Instead of removing and adding the object, we actually have a proper refresh function to just like refresh the state, refresh the color and the linking, the priority order, right? So no need to recreate it. We know that it will live on. We just refresh its state. That's it. Right? I think that makes sense. Kind of get stuff, yeah. Okay, so let me double check that there is no other logic in here. New object friend, this one is unchanged. This one will also be unchanged. We now skip on the allocation here. Now this one, get rid. Oh, we still have this one. Is priority visible? Refresh. So what if now the new priority is not visible? Yeah. I think there's more to it. Remove type. Here, yeah. So the problem is like there could be a case where when we refresh the object, I think there's a problem with this approach. So if the radar priority changed to it's no longer visible, well, it was not visible to begin with. I think we cannot do this refresh thingy. Yeah, cannot do this. Search for radar objects. I think there's still, you can still do it. It requires a bit more thought. I think what we need to do is refresh objects. If it doesn't exist yet, then we need to add it. Yeah. And if we cannot relink it, then we need to delete it. So we would say here else. Add objects. Then here we would say if relink radar objects, let's say so let's say this function returns Boolean. So here we have return true. I think we can do, yeah, return true. Then here we can also return true. Say here if is priority visible, if not is priority visible, return false. So then here we say how about we do this outside? So we have this here. How about we take a copy of this, put that here, and then, well, then this will always return true voids. Pretty. Return true. Okay. I think it would be better if unlink radar object. Unlink radar object. I think this one doesn't need to return a Boolean. I think for a link it would be good to return Boolean here. Let's put it in there. Relink. Take this condition again. Return false. Not is priority visible. True. Return true. And then here we do if just to return this. Okay. Then here. Let's keep this. Okay, so and then we would go to relink radar, relink radar objects, and then we say if relink, if that is successful, then we assign the color. Otherwise we remove objects. Okay, I think that makes the most sense. So when we refresh an object, then we first get the list here. If we can't find it in the list, then we will add this, because that means it's a new object. Add objects. Otherwise, if we can't, here we need to have an else. Unable to relink. Unable to relink. Remove. Priority may have changed. Remove. Was not yet added. Priority may have changed. Add. But now the question is, since we have already unlinked it, what will remove object do now? Delete from list. It will hit this assert then, because we already unlinked. Yeah, so it's a bit shady here. Yeah. Essentially, if we do a relink, and it fails to relink, maybe what we can do is yeah, maybe we should say maybe we should have this earlier. So here we say radar priority is priority visible. So if priority visible, then we do relink, and assign object color. Otherwise we will remove it. It's no longer supposed to be visible. Remove. Don't need the comments. It's pretty self-explanatory. So if it's priority visible, we relink, assign this. So this is the refresh, removing and adding. Okay, this looks good. Then that means we can remove all the Boolean stuff here again. Make this a void. 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 Remove this. Remove this. And that's void. What was a premature deletion of them? We need this though. Okay. I think that makes sense. So relink. Now there's one thing I just realized. So I think it's not good that we have this thing here. Delete from list. I think what we should do is first we remove this. So I'm inclined to say that we make a change to, first we remove this here. Then we remove this. And view radar here. We remove this. And we remove this. I would say we change this to Boolean. It's locally controlled. Get controlling player. It is interesting here that it tries to delete it from this list or this list. It doesn't check if object is locally controlled and then removes it. Why not? Why is it not doing that? Maybe because at this time here, the player is already unassigned, maybe. Set team null, what does that do? is locally controlled. Git controlling player. Okay, what is this? Owning player. Oh. Git controlling player. Here. Oh. There you go. My team, get controlling player. Okay, so that means the player would still be known here before we call this. Before we null out the team, the order of ops are critical here because the radar code would sometimes look at the team info and is assumed through the team and player code that the team is valid. And yet it doesn't do anything there. It doesn't look at the team. Okay, that comment doesn't match. I wonder if this needs to happen before team then. Or not? After team. That looks really risky here. Anyway, so I think a current state, if it compiles, it shouldn't be too bad. Yeah. Then I think we can remove this. Good. Was it installed? No. Okay, let's see if it works. It hangs. I wonder if it hangs in an infinite loop now. No. It looks suspicious. It hangs in an infinite loop. Okay. Or does it not? It's always the same object here. Next object. Next. Yeah, okay, so this one links to itself. Haha. Okay, how did that happen? Okay, let's investigate next session. But okay, so we somehow managed to link a node to itself. Yeah. Interesting. Good. Then I will end it here. I wish you a great day or night. Until next time, goodbye.